So here is a typical setup for Pulp Adventures. You can see that in the center of the board, Jane Jasper and Professor Gallifrey have been stranded. At the top is the adventure and the threat. You'll have each adventure is different, and you'll have different objectives as you travel around the comic book panel. The whole comic book panel is modular and will change as you play. Let me go ahead and look around here a little bit. This is the encounter deck and the event deck, and you can see they correspond to the icons on the different comic book panels. To the other side, you'll see artifacts, discoveries, ruins, and villages, which are other icons that you'll encounter as you travel through the comic book panel. Today's heroes, we have Dr. Gallifrey with his own personal quest, and you can see his skills are comprised of a deck of cards. He also has some starting equipment. Jane Jasper, who also has her own starting equipment and her own personal quest. Additional tiles that will be used during play, and 3 characters that we're not using right now: Dakota Jack, Colonel Quartermain, and Kargana, Mistress of Ur. There are some tokens here that we'll need throughout the game, extra dice, and then another deck of cards which contain additional adventures, different scenarios, and other things that we're not using at this time. Okay, I'm going to walk through one round of gameplay, and that should give you a good idea of how Pulp Adventure plays. So in this particular scenario, it's the very beginning scenario. We've traveled to the center of the earth and been assaulted by Morlocks, that's what this text says, and that we have to find different parts for our mole machines, which can only be found in mountain or underground locations. And you can see that each of these areas have like a little icon here in the corner that tells you what type of location this is, although I probably do need to punch up the contrast a little bit on that. So, as we go along, time is going to pass, and the more time that passes, the more difficult things are going to be coming. For 2 players, I draw 6 cards. That's my starting hand. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so everybody has 3 actions per turn. Right? So, right off the bat, this shows you my skill set right here. So, I'm kind of heavy on smarts. I have a little bit of luck. Very little moxie. Moxie is kind of like survival and cleverness. Not so much fight. So that's my starting hand here. Let's go ahead and draw Jane's starting hand also, because you can contribute to each other's turns even when you're not, even when it's not your turn. Notice also that some cards have a discard function at the bottom. You can see discard to allow another player to reroll any failed smarts dice. Or in this case, discard to cancel an event card and draw a new one. So, starting right off, I have 3 actions as Dr. Gallifrey. So, as my first action, I'm going to go ahead and move. I guess I could move up to the Morlock Warrens. That's very dangerous because you can see there's two adventure icons up there. But maybe I'll go to the Cave Dwelling instead, because that place has a discovery icon instead also. So let's go down there. That's my first action. For my second action, I always must encounter red icons first, or if it has red text, that must go first as my next action. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and encounter a adventure icon. Now, whenever someone moves, they have the option of bringing along a sidekick. So I could have asked Jane Jasper if she wanted to travel down here with me for free, as a free action. If you're in the same space, you can both contribute cards to that encounter, and you both roll your own dice pools, you both reap experience points. So it's kind of like you're taking the turn simultaneously, except that in this case, while it's my turn, he is the main hero and she's the sidekick, and then of course when it's her turn, she would be the main hero and he would be the sidekick. So even if you're not in the same space, you can also contribute by playing luck cards on each other. Luck cards, or you can use these discard effects. Discard effects will also let you help people when you're not in their exact vicinity. So just for the sake of expediency, I'm going to go ahead and split the party here and try to get more done. So hopefully we can find these parts before too much time elapses. Alright, so I've traveled down to the cave dwelling, and so that was my first action. My second action is going to have to be to encounter this icon. Every one of these icons takes an action. The red ones, like I said, are mandatory. Everything else is optional. So if I want, I can take this as my third action, or I could skip that and go right here to this little sidebar. The little text bar is also considered an icon. So anyways, as my second action, I discover Morlock Scavengers. Alright, so this says it's a Savage Mook Chase. Some of those cards would apply to these descriptors. And then right off the bat, if, let's say it says unready 1 equipment if in an underground location. Oh, I'm sorry, unready 1 equipment if in an underground location this test is +2. Well, actually, I am in an underground location. So instead of having 2 health or a 2 sneak, I'm going to need to combat a 4 or a 4. So I'm going to need 4 successes to succeed in this. And right off the bat, the scavengers have made one of my equipment damaged. So I'm going to go ahead and damage that one. I'm going to keep this one. Alright, so I can choose whether to go after sneak or to fight them. I can try to run away or hide or fight them. So I don't have a whole lot of sneak in my hand. I do have 4 fight. So I'm going to take that one and this one. That's going to generate 4 points of fight. If I want, I can increase my pool by 1 by playing a luck card, or luck can also be used to re-roll dice. So I think I'm going to do 1 of each. I'm going to go ahead and go 5 on that, and I'll save 1 luck card in case I'm in trouble. Jane could also contribute luck if she had any. Unfortunately, she does not. So she cannot help me in that way. Some of her special cards might be able to help me. But right now, we're just going to go after it, after these Morlocks, and see what happens. So I've got 5 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll the dice. You can see I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a reroll icon. Now, the reroll icon is only for heroes, a heroic bonus if you're alone. If you are with another companion, then you do not get the hero bonus. So since I'm alone, I'm going to go ahead and reroll that. Bam. Oh, look at that. I succeeded. All right. So I succeeded in the test, and it says down here, gain a discovery or 2 ammunition. Well, I don't really need ammunition because I don't have any weapons. I'm a scientist. So I'm going to gain a discovery card. Okay, nautical charts. Discard to move any panel or replace any panel. Okay, so that's good. So later on, this is going to help me maybe find an underground location or a mountain location so I can search it for parts. So I'll just keep that here. And then this card tucks in here as part of my storyline. And these icons right here sometimes tie into your main objective. On this particular mission, it does not, but sometimes these icons are part of the mission. All right, so that was my second turn. And for my third turn, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and take another discovery. So as you encounter these things, you mark these. And this is kind of like a little track that you're going to go down here. So I've already accomplished this. I could skip that and just gain 2 fame. Oh, I forgot. By fighting this creature, I get fame for fighting this creature. So I get 2 fame for fighting that creature. Now at 5 fame, I will be able to draw an upgrade card. The upgrade cards have little arrows on their sides right here, and I can add that to my deck. And I can also burn a card at that time if I want to keep my deck lean and mean. So anyways, for my third action, I could either go ahead and get the discovery, or I could go ahead and get the 2 fame. Once this track moves down, once it's completed, I cannot go back. It's been used up. I've already missed that opportunity. So I will, or the other thing is I could go ahead and explore right here and move the track all the way down to the very end and try to get one of those parts. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the discovery. Another discovery is always good. All right, so Statue Line Vault. This will let me re-roll a ruins test, which ruins are often places of high adventure where you find artifacts and other useful things. So I'm going to keep that also. Alright, so my turn's done. So now it is Jane Jasper's turn. Go ahead and she'll try the Morlock Warrens up here. Alright, so it says encounters are +2 here. So that's probably a bad move, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so right off the bat it says encounters are +2 here, and I have to draw my first encounter card. Again, I must have mixed those in by accident. Okay, looks like I've come across 2 fighting dinosaurs. So I can try to use smarts to outwit them, or I can try to sneak away, right? So smarts to distract them, or sneak to outwit them. I think I'm going to go with a smarts test. So my 4. Dr. Gallifrey could chip in a luck card. In fact, I'm going to ask him to do that, so he's also going to help me out. Let's see what else I have. Okay, well that's going to be useful if I fail this test. So let's go ahead and try to outsmart these 2 fighting dinosaurs with 4 dice. Okay, I only got 3 dice. So that is a fail, and I don't have anything that's going to let me re-roll this. So I'm going to take the penalty, which is wounded, and I have to add a plot point. Plot points are the timer in the game. So I will add a plot point to this card here. Every time that card, in this particular case, every time that card reaches 4+, I'm going to flip one of these events, right? So it gets progressively harder as the game goes on. Now the bottom part here is when we do finally find these 3 parts that we need. Oh, I forgot to show on this backside here. Shows you for 2 players I need 3 parts. 3 players I need 4 parts, and 4 players I need 5 parts. When we finally find those parts there, it will switch up to a climax phase at the very end, and the remaining cards every turn will get flipped. So this is both the timer for the game, and it's also the timer for the end game. It just once you hit the climax phase, it's going to go very fast because it's going to go after every single person. Whereas this only goes during whenever this exceeds time. So anyways, I would take a wound, and I added a plot point. All right, and I have the option of retreating whenever I'm defeated, and you can only retreat to places that you've already been that are cleared. So I don't have great cards, and so it's probably foolish of me to go up there. So I'm going to go ahead and retreat here. So for my second action, maybe I'll try a different location. Another thing you could do with your action is draw a card. So you can move, encounter these icons, or draw a card as your action. So I drew a card as my second action, and now as my third action, maybe I will try someplace that looks a little bit less difficult. Let's go over here to the rainforest. Alright, so that's my third action. At the beginning of the next round, I'll have to encounter this icon. Alright, so everybody's passed. Everybody's had 1 round. And so at the end of every round, you will flip this event card. And the very first thing is it shows you how many cards everybody draws back into their hand. So in this case, he draws 2 more cards. She draws 2 more cards back into her hand. Oops, I forgot this is my discard pile. This is the card she draws. Alright, then you check to see if you are in that type of location, which she is in jungle, so no. He is in underground. And then, okay, so this one does affect her in this location. So then she reads the text, and in this case, bottom line is that she's encountered something big, and then in the following turn, beasts and dinosaurs are +1 to their combat rating. Lastly, the very last thing you do is you add another plot point to that. And that's how the game goes. You keep taking your turns, these get revealed, the plot points increase. Eventually this comes out, these start to come out. Hopefully you can acquire the things you need before too many of these have gotten out, because it starts to get a little bit more difficult each time. Thank you for watching Pulp Adventures, and I hope you have some interest in that. Thanks.